Hello and welcome to Midwest Writers Room. I'm Luella Schmidt and I'm here with my co host,
Ken Humphrey.
and we are so delighted to be on location, I guess, at Novel Book Camp. And we are here with Dave Rank, the executive director and founder of Novel Book Camp, and Ekta Garg. I'm sorry, did I say that correctly? And Ekta Garg, who is the incoming executive director, right? So, welcome. Thank you for chatting with us.
Well, thank you for the invite.
You bet. So, Dave, we're going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about the history of Novel Book Camp and why and when you started it.
Well, it sort of was. Uh, I went in 2010. I was at a similar. Well, basically, I stole the idea from them. A similar kind of workshop retreat down in Kentucky. It was across the river from Cincinnati, and at the time the organizer of that one was talking about they were in a retreat center down there, and they said that they were going to be closing soon, and he was looking for a new place. And I thought, well, we have this nice little retreat area near West Bend where I live, and I thought it would be nice to have. That one was not big enough for them, anyways, and they didn't end up moving for a couple more years. But it sort of got things going in the back of my mind that it would be nice to have a retreat like that. And then I got involved with well, I was involved with the WWA, Wisconsin Writers Association, and was on their board actually at that time. And they had some new board members coming in, and they were looking for some new programming they could offer membership, and looking for ideas. And I just blurted out, well, how about we offer a retreat, a workshop, instead of week long, more or less. And they said, yeah, well, give us a proposal. So I worked up a detailed proposal and budget, hunted down staff, and next thing I know, in 2014, we held our first one with 5 writers, and the staff was almost as big as the writers, the number of writers we were teaching, and we held it ever since. It grew every year um, until 2020, when as hard as we tried to move it around and get it and find a way to make it work, ultimately our venue at that time just shut down, and that was it. So we didn't have a book camp in 2020, but we moved on, and about 3 years ago we moved here because we've outgrown the place in near West Bend. So we moved to here, the Sienna Retreat Center in Racine, and it's a lovely facility. I kind of think of it as like sort of a college campus, small college campus atmosphere. So the WWA sponsored us for the first couple of years, and in 2016, we sort of mutually decided that we should separate. And so with my co-conspirators, Lisa Lickle, who works for you, and the late Philip Martin, we decided to make it a independent nonprofit organization, and so we did in Wisconsin, and we've been going ever since.
All right, so here we are. You a little over a decade into it, from 5 students to roughly, I think you said 30. You had about 30 students on this iteration. Quite the journey. Longtime WWA members will probably recognize the Novel in Progress Book Camp logo and partnership, because you guys have been a great partner for WWA. There is a lot of cross pollination that goes on between the two. What, if you would sum up what the mission of the Novel in Progress Book Camp is, like if somebody says, why should I go to this book camp? What would that response be?
If you want to write and you want to see yourself published, we offer services that we bring in published authors. We bring in book coaches, we bring in literary agents, and we offer services that I don't think other uh, retreats can offer. Um, and we don't promise that you'll get published, but we will do our best to help you advance that next step to get to that point where you feel confident that you can submit to an agent or a publisher or self-publish these days, which is becoming more and more um, a good alternative.
So give us maybe a little glimpse into what a day of a camper might look like. What kind of how are their days structured, or how is the week structured
Well,
for them?
it depends on on the program. We offer three programs that I mentioned. We have the workshop, which is morning classes and afternoon writing clinic, and then we offer separate presentations all around. In fact, many of our writers, uh, their main complaint is that they're too busy. We keep them busy, but I'd rather have them complain that they're too busy than not busy enough. So that's the workshop. They're pretty well learning, having classes most of the time with and one-on-one presentation, or not one-on-one consultations with the instructors. Then we have the retreat, which is for writers who basically just want to write or edit or plan their next project. Um, there's a mentor who's there to sort of keep them motivated and answer questions and do help brainstorm if they run into a problem with what they're working on. If you walk around, you'll see people just sitting at various stations, various places by themselves, and they're typing away at their laptops. Those are the retreat people. They really don't have much of a schedule. They can attend a lot of the stuff going on, but it's up to them to decide what they want to do. And if all they want to do is sit and work on their manuscript, that's fine with us. And the third program is our book coach, which is a relatively new one. That is one-on-one. We describe it as for writers who have a finished or nearly finished manuscript and want that one last go through with a professional to, you know, shine it up, polish it up, and the book coach is there. Will read the entire manuscript, prepare a little um, written analysis of the strengths and weaknesses, and then during the week we'll spend you know time one-on-one with them to work specifically with that writer on that manuscript. And then there's a little group session for so they can discuss common issues and problems and that. And invariably, I don't think it's uh, everyone who signs up for the book coach thinks they're ready to go, you know, submit it. And by the time our book coaches are done with them, they all are say, I got to go rewrite this. So it's a pretty intensive program. All three are really. And what's nice about the book camp is that while we have 30 people here, everyone's kind of working in a smaller group because we have so many programs, you know, the three programs, and then we offer the three programs in our, what we call genre and speculative fiction. So we have separate instructors, coaches for both of those. So um, I'm it's been most satisfying that for the most part, over the years, I've gotten many people saying that the book camp has been very beneficial to them. And every year we get many of our writers come back. So appreciate that as well.
Right. I'm gonna have you hand the mic over to
Oh.
Ekta. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. Ekta, as of July 1st, my understanding that you are now going to be the top dog here. So
Yes.
congratulations for one.
Thank
Why don't you
you.
walk us through a little bit? What's your background, your association with Novel Book Camp, and how do you see this book camp moving forward in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually started coming to boot camp very recently, just in 2024 was my very first time here. I found out about boot camp through another one of our partner organizations, the Chicago Writers Association. I had attended their conference in March of 24. There were flyers of book camp in the swag bags that we got. And I looked at the flyer and I started reading about it, and I was like, this sounds really nice. In the summer, in June, I thought, well, my kids will be out of school, so it'll be easier to leave them at home. I don't have to worry about coordinating school schedules and all that sort of thing. And I decided to give it a try. And I came here to this amazing retreat center and really feel like I found a writing home for myself. And that year I did the workshop program and it was great. Like Dave said that, the instructors keep us busy, but it's evergreen advice, but also positioned in a way that challenges you a little bit because we are expecting writers to come here who are ready to take the next steps in authorship and being published. There are amazing programs across the country in local communities where they are meant for writers who are just starting out. Book camp is one step up above that. We're looking for writers who really are sort of starting to lean in a little bit more to what they're looking for in terms of a career. Um, and so I came in 2024 and did the workshop program, absolutely fell in love with it. And that fall, there were some board members who were rotating off the board, and Dave sent out an email to people who had attended boot camp that we have some spots opening up. Is anybody interested in serving on the board? And I said I am, because when I find something this precious, I really want to put as much of my efforts towards supporting it as I can. And so I was, grateful that they took me onto the board and, had conversations and was able to help sort of implement some minor things that maybe were slightly different from previous boot camps, but ultimately all enhanced the overall mission. And that's really what my goal is now going forward, is to continue with the mission of boot camp to promote the craft, the conversation, the camaraderie that we all share here year after year, and to continue to make it thrive and make it just as robust as it has been, to continue with the mission that Dave and Lisa and Philip started with all those years ago, and to take that forward in the best way possible.
I love that you started out as a camper, right? I think that's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, I've attended other writing conferences before, and I really, came here. I needed a little bit of a getaway. I had lost my father earlier in 2024, so it was a hard year for me, and I just needed some time just to sort of center myself a little bit. Um, and I came here and I got that and so much more. And so, when an experience or an organization gives you so much, I think it's a natural human tendency to try to want to give back to it as well, if you can. And so that was my reaction.
Yeah, that's great. Can
Oh.
you share a little bit about, I don't know, your top of mind priorities that you want to see when it's your baby?
I would love, my ideal situation would be 5 years from now that we have such a long waiting list for boot camp that we have to very seriously consider what to do about that. Whether that means expanding the conference to more than a week or some other solution. But that would be my ideal, that 5 years from now we have people fighting to make it into boot camp, and where signups open up and the website crashes, and within a week the entire thing is full and we have people begging us, oh, but please, please. I would love that, because it means that people recognize the value that boot camp already brings. I've been telling people everywhere that it's truly a hidden gem, and I really want to continue to help polish it and make it visible to the whole world and let them know that it's here.
All right, writers, you've got your mission. Let's crash this site next go around. All right. Well, I want to thank Dave and Ekta for taking some time with us to talk through the novel book camp. Again, keep your eye out. It's just runs June, right?
Yes. And
But
next year it will run from June 13th to the 19th. 2027 here at the Sienna Retreat Center in Racine, Wisconsin.
All right, perfect. Everybody keep your eyes out. Apparently, this is a can't miss opportunity. So,
Absolutely.
thanks again for talking with us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining the Midwest Writers Room.